Now, there's a post at redstate.com by Seton Motley, and it is that Warren Buffett knows less government means more economic activity. And we know he knows this by virtue of how he manages his businesses. We don't know that from listening to him speak. You remember the Buffett rule? You know what the Buffett rule is? The Buffett rule is a part of a tax plan proposed by Obama, B. Hussein O., in 2011. The tax plan would apply a minimum tax rate of 30% on people making more than $1 million a year. That's the Buffett rule. Buffett came out in favor of it, using his secretary as an example. His secretary paid a higher tax rate than he did. That was outrageous. That was unfair. Well, so rather than give his secretary a raise, Warren Buffett signed up with Obama, appearing to support tax increases on everybody else. The Buffett rule named after Warren Buffett, who publicly stated in early 2011 that he believed it was wrong that rich people like him could pay less in federal taxes as a portion of income than the middle class. And he voiced support for increased income taxes on the wealthy. And the low information, see, he cares about us. See, he's willing to give us some of his money with higher taxes. That's how convoluted their thinking is. Low information welfare state people think higher taxes equals more welfare for them. Thank you, Democrat Party. Okay, now knowing that, suppose, writes Mr. Motley, suppose that an investor you admire and trust comes to you with an investment idea. This is a good one, he says enthusiastically. I'm in it, and I think you should be too. Well, what would your reply possibly be to this? Well, it all depends on what my tax rate will be on the gain you're saying we're going to make. If the taxes are too high, I'd rather leave the money in my savings account, earning 0.25%. This is Buffett in a New York Times editorial in 2012. And let me tell you what this is about. Warren Buffett was trying to say, okay, suppose he was trying to say that people, investors, do not calculate tax rates before they invest their money. That's BS. But he was trying to tell the low income, well, anybody that reads the New York Times, just the exact opposite. That's why he wrote. Suppose an investor you admire and trust comes to you with an idea. It's a good one, he says. I'm in it, and I think you should be too. Would you say, well, it all depends on what my tax rate will be on the gain? But he's trying to say that people do not react to investment opportunities that way. They don't think about the tax rate on the gain. But they do. All the time. It's called the capital gains tax rate for one, but there are all sorts of different taxes associated with investments. And everybody precisely does just that. Untaxed U.S. corporate profits held overseas are in excess of $2.1 trillion. A lot of that is Apple. Apple has almost $130 billion overseas that they will not repatriate. They will not bring it home. They will not spend it here. They will not invest it here because of the 35% tax rate. And there are a lot of corporations doing the same thing. That's why U.S. corporate profits untaxed overseas are over $2.1 trillion. Okay, let's flash forward to Warren Buffett, 2014. Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway is expected to help finance Burger King's pending acquisition of Canadian donut chain Tim Hortons. The deal will allow Miami-based Burger King to claim Canada as its new legal home for tax purposes. So, Warren Buffett, who wants everybody to think that nobody invests with tax consequences in mind, and who wants everybody to think that he doesn't care about tax cuts, that he thinks people like him should be paying even more, is now helping lead the brokering of a deal which will result in fewer and smaller U.S. taxes for Burger King. Now, what's that, if it's not blatant hypocrisy? But throw the hypocrisy out. What it is smart. What it is good business. Nobody should pay more in taxes than they have to. Do you spend more than you have to at a store just to be a good public citizen? Why should corporations pay more? Why should individuals pay more than the law says? Okay, so Burger King is going to acquire Tim Hortons, and they're going to become headquartered in Canada. Much lower corporate tax rate. Oh, no. And, of course, here comes the media and the barbarians and everybody dumping on Burger King, saying that they are not being good citizens. They're fleeing the United States and not paying their fair share. So much so that Burger King says, we're not doing this for taxes. The Buffett lesson. We're not doing this for taxes. We're not leaving the U.S. No. We're doing this because we're going to become the biggest, and we want to be the best fast food chain in the world, and this is how we have to. And why shouldn't they? Why should Buffett and Gates be the only guys that get away with hypocrisy on taxes? Yeah, it's a crazy thing. Why is Canada more favorable to locate in than the U.S. or anywhere? Because their corporate tax rates are so low. So here you have, to sum up, Warren Buffett, publicly, people aren't paying enough taxes. It's outrageous. My secretary pays a higher percentage of taxes than I do. That's just not right. I agree with President Obama. I think the rich are not paying their fair share. I think the rich and the super rich and the 1% like me need to be paying more taxes. But then Warren Buffett, this is, by the way, this is called an inversion. It's what Walgreen did, which they then buckled and canceled the deal because of pressure. But Warren Buffett is also saying this deal's not about taxes. The combined company would be based in Canada because of Tim Hortons' strong roots north of the border. And then in May, Warren Buffett said, I will not pay a dime more of individual taxes than I owe, and I won't pay a dime more of corporate taxes than we owe. And that's very simple. Well, a lot of people think that Warren Buffett thinks he's not paying enough. A lot of people think that Warren Buffett and Bill Gates think they're not paying enough, and they think everybody's not paying enough, and everybody should be paying more. And Warren Buffett does everything he can to pay as little as he can. And then leads investment deals for people so they can escape high taxes. So, ergo, we get this guy calling from Lakeland telling us about his friends who, when they hear Republicans talk about tax cuts, they think it's only for the rich. Thank you, Warren Buffett. Thank you, Bill Gates. Thank you, Obama. Thank you, Democrats. Thank you for this total, purposeful hypocrisy and lying confusion about this. This is why I think there needs to be an artful, correct, passionate explanation, which makes me think of something else, too. But
separating fact from fiction. Right.